Crossover. I'm Chris King.
Justin.
Hey man, we don't have Trey Crosby the third, so stepping in for his hosting. And I've done a little bit of it, but certainly not as high energy, high juiced as Trey Crosby the third is. So we certainly miss him. He was at the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints game that ended very poorly for the Guru. And then the way that this one just ended, the Bucks lose it 122 to 115 at home versus the Houston Rockets in a game that you really thought you should have won. I mean, this team had the lead pretty much the whole way. They had a 14-point lead, and they just watched it slip away at the hands of Alperen Şengün and Kevin Durant. So I'll go ahead and just start us off. We shouldn't be too long. I know people are watching football, and it's a Sunday, and this is our 10th game into the season, so not going to take up too much of everybody's time, but certainly want to get into the good, the bad, the ugly, and why we lost this game. So, and we're also filling in for JT. JT's not here today, but he'll be here when we play tomorrow, I believe. I think we should have all four of us. So welcome on in, everybody. Appreciate you spending your Sunday with us here on the Cream City Crossover. Again, 122-115 loss to the Houston Rockets. And just a really good showing for most of this game, right? First half really good. Third quarter weathered the storm a little bit. They chipped away at us, and then they were able to pull away at the end. But I'll start with the Bucks and what I saw from the Bucks. Obviously you can't. This is the MVP, guys. Like Giannis was taking it to those boys at Houston, and that just shows that this team. I mean, him and Miles Turner. Miles Turner kind of disappeared in the second half, but I thought he had a really good start. And this just shows that this front court is really, really good when they're both locked in, right? Like, you have the best front court in the league. And when you play a team that is not as physically imposing as you, right? Not as physically imposing as you, you're going to make them feel that. And I thought the Bucks did that in the first half. Giannis with 37, 8, and 3. 3 turnovers for him. Miles Turner, he started off hot, started off as our leading scorer. And that's some of the things that you see from Miles Turner. And we'll get to the chat just in just a second. So I appreciate everybody pulling up and giving us love on this Sunday. So I would say, their defense, I thought in the first half was good. In the second half was not good. They got confused. They were slow on rotation, stuff like that. And I thought that needs some work. That needs to stay consistent throughout the full 48 minutes of a game. But Gary Trent Jr., quiet night for the guards outside of Ryan Rollins, right? You had A.J. Green, 3 points, 1 of 5 from 3. I think one of those was like a late shot clock grenade. But outside of that, he just didn't have it. And he turned the ball over too. He turned the ball over twice, a couple big ones in the fourth quarter. So not really sure what's going on there with AJ Green. Just a bad night, and that needs to tighten up if you want to win games like this. Like I saw Trey Crosby tweet that Reed Shepherd had a better game than AJ Green, and that's just not going to cut it, especially down the stretch. I mean, they won the effort plays down the stretch for sure. Ryan Rollins, 19 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, couple turnovers. But look, Ryan Rollins, now you're starting to see that consistency bleed through. Guys, you're starting to see now, okay, bounce back from a couple of bad ones and then have immediately 2 good ones right after that. So the experience that he's getting without KPJ in the lineup, I think is really good. And then as far as bench minutes, look, we've talked about Bobby Portis. We've talked about how his defense has been bad. Tonight, I didn't really think it was that bad. Tonight, I thought Doc put him in the right positions, and it was kind of like the want to from Bobby Portis that allowed him to be active on the defensive end. So I don't really have anything bad to say about Bobby's defense tonight, even though we did lose the game. He saw a couple shots go in, finally. Like, that's what we need from Bobby Portis. 11 points for him, 1 of 1 from 3. Kyle Kuzma, again, we've been talking up this Kyle Kuz control for, I would say, probably the majority of this year now. And the consistency that Kyle Kuzma is playing with, it shows you that he's really bought in. He's really getting used to this new team, new scheme with this squad, the way that we want to play. And Justin, like, I'm very happy with Kyle Kuzma's shot selection too. The fact that he's able to pull threes right off the catch now and knock them down with confidence, I really think that'll be valuable for the Bucks. And he played great defense on KD. I'll give that to him. Amir Coffey, what are you doing, brother? 14 minutes, no points. 1 rebound. That's it. Running around. Just running around. Amir Coffey. 12 points for Cole Anthony in 18 minutes. 5 rebounds and 6 assists. So the playmaking was there from Cole Anthony, but the turnovers, guys, I mean, Cole Anthony's one of those guys, again, where you talk about, like, okay, we have Bobby Portis who makes bonehead decisions. We have Kyle Kuzma who makes bonehead decisions. There are a lot of good plays that Cole Anthony makes, and then there's also a lot of bad. I remember at the end of the third quarter, him jumping out of bounds, like, the clock is running down. It's 8 seconds left. He throws a jump pass that goes back court, and we miss a possession, right? Like, these are the big, important things that we need to tighten up, and hopefully when KPJ gets back, those things are cleaned up and we're not in those positions. But he did knock down, I think, he knocked down 1 of 2 from 3, so hopefully he can get that 3 ball going. 5 of 9 from the field, had a big and 1 in the fourth quarter. So Cole, pretty bad night taking care of the ball, but I thought offensively he provided some things, playmaking-wise and scoring the basketball. So let's go ahead and go over to the Rockets side. I would say, KD was KD. As much as we tried to double and help off, and he's penetrating, getting to his spots, and we just tried to get an extra hand up. I mean, he was KD tonight. He was as advertised. 11 of 15, incredibly efficient for KD. 2 of 2 from 3. I thought the game plan on him was really good. I thought, again, Kyle Kuzma played good defense on him, but he was just cooking, and that's what happens with one of the best shot makers in the league. Jabari Smith Jr., 16 points. Şengün, he took over at the end there. Look, he's slow. He's really not all that athletic, but I don't understand why we just let him take those little flip shots, like, right over us. Like, we're worried about him passing out of the post. Well, we should probably get a hand up. That would have been helpful, but that didn't happen, and he was able to take over the game. 23 points for him, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and then the rest of the way, I mean, you had Amen Thompson with 14 points, 4 rebounds. Steven Adams came in. I thought he changed the game a little bit because he was their big body. They needed a big body, and he was that for them. Reed Shepherd off the bench with 16 points. The rest, just they're Jags, just a guy. Tari Eason with 6 points. Clint Capella with 4 points. So, yeah, I thought, the 4 steals from Reed Shepherd, huge for the Rockets, and it ultimately cost us, I think, the game. The way that Reed Shepherd was able to force those turnovers and then create it into offense, that kind of chipped away at the lead, and then the rest just kind of took care of itself. Like, KD started hitting shots, Şengün started getting buckets, and that was the story tonight. And I'm left. Here's my thoughts on the game. I'm left kind of hopeless here because I felt like this was one that we should have closed out for sure. I thought that the ball moved really well offensively for us, but when it got to the final couple stretches, the game was being stopped a lot. It slowed down a little bit. We're missing free throws. Giannis missed 2 big ones. Although he had a great game, I won't shy away from critiquing that. I mean, those are 2 big free throws to, I believe, tie the game or cut the lead to 2, and he just missed them both. And so, you felt like you had the opportunities to win, but also you're not really going to be in a good spot when you're 2 shooting guards that start and play 30 minutes nearly, both of them, Gary Trent Jr. and A.J. Green, combined for 12 points. Like, that's just not sustainable. Miles Turner goes 10 points in the first half, and then he goes 13 for the rest of the game. So he scored 3 points in the second half. So you can't just play one half a ball, especially against a Houston Rockets team that's going to get after you, a team that's going to be scrappy, a team that's going to stay in it with the shot makers that they have, talking about KD. They're never really out of it, I would say. But you kind of enabled that. You kind of enabled that with the dumb decisions, the turnovers, not really doing a good job defensively at the end, just kind of getting lazy with it. And ultimately you see what happens. And so, this is a game where, you're coming off of a pretty decent win versus the Bulls, right, on Friday. And then, you feel like you got a little bit of momentum and you could carry that momentum against a really good Houston Rockets team. And all of a sudden we drop it because we just weren't all the way locked in for the full 48. So, I mean, look, I can't say enough about Giannis with 37 tonight. I mean, he's just taking it to these guys. But I know I might read some of Trey's thoughts because Trey was watching the second half of that game. I'll read those for you guys, get to your comments and all that. But Ryan Rollins, outside of that, yeah, we talked about Bobby Portis, Ryan Rollins, Kuzma. But I thought Ryan Rollins did a good job today making great decisions. There was one pick and roll that he had with Giannis where it's like, how would you fit a pass in that tight window with two guys on you? And he did it, and he's doing a really good job now getting that pick and roll down, that two-man game down with Giannis, and not turning the ball over doing it, and then also attacking the rim. I think the three ball has really opened up a lot for Ryan Rollins. If he's able to knock him down at a consistent level, I think Ryan Rollins is going to be a real threat to a lot of opposing teams, because now you got to pick your poison. He scores from all three levels. So yeah, that's some of what I saw. Justin, take it away. I'll get to the comments, and I'll get to Trey's comments when you're done, sir.
So let's go to what Doc Rivers thought. So he felt that they were bad on both ends of the floor. The game was winnable. He was very frustrated because the ball just stopped moving in that second half. And I think you kind of see that later on in the press conference. He went that we had 5 assists in the second half and 20 assists in the first half. Rockets were amazing on the glass. I mean, that's what they do. But our turnovers and the offensive rebounds completely killed us. He wanted to make KD play in the crowd. Just felt like the Bucks were average on guarding him, especially in that second half. 14 for 24 from the free throw line. Free throwing shooting was atrocious tonight. You alluded to the ones that Giannis, in the end, I think he missed 4 in a row at one point during the most crucial time of the game. And he asked the reporters, what do you want me to do? They have to make free throws. Super frustrated that when they were up 10 and they had a chance to take it to 20 and really close this team out, and they did not do that. Thought it was a huge no call. There was an and one. I think it was Amen Thompson that hit it, and KD had a charge that Rollins drew. He was in perfect guarding position, but he felt like that turned the entire tide of the game. I felt like if he felt that way, Doc should have probably used a challenge there. And then that's all we had from Doc. Pretty short press conference tonight. I agree with a lot of what you said, man. I'll just say this, man. I see some of the comment stuff talking about you got to blame Doc. I thought Doc did a lot of good stuff in this lineup, in this ball game. I did think at the end, though, when you had a Gary Trent Jr. or an AJ Green in the basketball game, and they're stuck to guard Kevin Durant, that's not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for disaster. And we saw KD show you why his nickname is Easy Money Sniper. And he did that to us in the fourth quarter. My biggest issue is just Sengun. I mean, he talked all that smack about Giannis in the summer during the Euro Basketball Challenge, whatever it's called. And I thought Giannis' defense in that last few seconds was absolutely lazy on him. He went for a list. He went for a steal, a reach, and you let that guy absolutely take you off the dribble and make you – I mean, this is an all-defensive player here, one of the best ones. And there's a lot of stuff, the first 7 games, how we talked about other guys being cones on the floor. Giannis was a cone at the end of the game. That wasn't good defense. He had a bad turnover, and he missed free throws. You're the leader of this team. You're the best player on the planet, and we just can't have that from you in a crunch game. And we're going to see a lot of tighter games like this. Doc did talk about how we don't have a second option, and it's usually Giannis and whoever's scoring hot. And I think tonight was a night where we missed a healthy prime Dame Lillard, a healthy prime Chris Middleton, something like that. But, hey, man, we gotta get better. I thought the game was winnable. We're going to see a lot of games like this down the entire stretch of the season, and it's a good learning experience all in all. I mean, I'm not going to throw my chair into the wall or anything else like that, but we just got to be better.
Yeah, you make good points there, Justin, and so is the chat. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily give too much flack on Doc Rivers tonight, although I thought, let it get out of hand a little bit. I think where my issue with Doc Rivers is, like everybody else in the chat is saying, Trey said it on Twitter, look, you're putting yourself at kind of a disadvantage when the two shooting guards are not hitting shots, one, but also you're putting yourself at a disadvantage when you got lineups with those guys out there. It makes it hard to rebound, okay? That's why, I saw a chat from Adam. He said 50 to 27 on rebounding. That's not good. That's not good. And the reason you're put in these positions is because Doc Rivers has two guys that aren't making shots, and they're 6'5" and under. in the starting lineup and in some of these closing lineups. Again, Giannis, now he goes 36 minutes. Mismanaging minutes is what Trey said. Trey Crosby said maybe mismanaged a little bit of minutes for Giannis. It looks like maybe Giannis ran out of some gas at the end. And so, he played for the full fourth quarter. And so that's why I think, we got to get some consistency with the amount of minutes that Giannis is playing, because you got bad teams coming up. You got a good team tomorrow, but if we can beat Dallas, that'd be nice for us. But I believe somebody said I think we have Charlotte coming up.
Charlotte Wednesday, Charlotte Friday, and the Lakers Saturday.
Exactly. So maybe you kind of allot those minutes now that Giannis doesn't have to miss a game, maybe for sitting out, load management, whatever, knee soreness, whatever it is. But you let him go 36 minutes against the Rockets tonight in a loss, and some of that running out of steam kind of hurts you. And then another thing that the chat is mentioning is 3 assists from Giannis. I don't necessarily, some of that has to do, I think, with missing shots, but also, I mean, him being out there and knowing that he can cook Tari Eason, knowing that he can cook Şengün, knowing that he can cook anybody that they throw down there, I think you get a little bit too wide-eyed, and then you start forgetting about where your teammates are at on the court. So I think that probably had a lot to do with that. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's check out some of the chats here. We got a couple of super chats. One coming in from the Last Quincy. The Last Quincy, appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate you supporting us. Giannis has been great down the stretch every game, but this one, he sold big time. And we could stay there for a second. Would you say that Giannis, so I mean, the missed free throws, yeah, big issue. The defense, running out of steam, not really guarding well. Would you say that Giannis maybe sold towards the end of this game, or would you just say that, would you chalk it up to maybe some fatigue for Giannis?
I mean, sold is a tough description for me. I mean, I understand why he said that. I would say this was Giannis more of a human fourth quarter, because in order for this team to be great and be where we think they are with missing KPJ, we're going to need Giannis to be superhuman. And I think he is at 90% of the year. However, we're the 100 post-game show, so we're going to call it out when he doesn't play up to that level. He can play better than this, and I think he will, and he'll get better. One other thing about the second half, too, Chris, I forgot to mention, we only had 10 three-pointers attempted in that second half. The volume was significantly low in this game.
Well, yeah, and that's also an interesting note you bring up there, Justin, because this is a team that's been built on getting threes up, right? And part of that may be, Giannis felt like he could do it himself tonight, and it just didn't happen down the stretch. NYC Randy, again, appreciate it. Appreciate all the support for the channel. This team is just not made to win consistently. They'll lose 2, win 1, lose 1, win 2. It's why this team will be very easy to beat in a 7-game series. We're just too inconsistent as a team, he says. So, to me, I get what you're saying, NYC, and I appreciate the super chat. I think it's a little early to call it that, because we don't have KPJ right now. We need to make some adjustments, right? It's nice to kind of reflect on this basketball team and say, okay, we've got 2 guys that can't be in closing lineups and maybe even a starting lineup in AJ Green and Gary Trent Jr. because of the rebounding advantage that the opposite team is going to have. But then again, like, you also have 2 of the bigger centers in the league playing right next to each other, right onside each other with Giannis and Miles Turner. So the rebounding from them even had to be better tonight. I felt, 8 and 6 from Miles and Giannis combined, not going to cut it. I think, Giannis has typically been averaging in that double-double range, so he probably could have worked a little harder. I see a chat coming in that says Giannis was obviously frustrated at the end. This is from Van Ja. He plays dumb when he's angry. Houston is a more talented team. Let's be real here. Even making it close on a back-to-back with travel is not bad. So, I think there's a little bit of that too, right? Like, Giannis was clearly frustrated. A lot of stuff went uncalled again for Giannis, I felt. But when they did call it, he wasn't making the free throws. And I think they did that. It's Ime Udoka, guys. Like, he's going to make Giannis earn the points at the line. And so I felt like Giannis didn't do a good job of taking advantage of those opportunities and maybe played a little frustrated. Let's look at some more chats here.
I disagree with the fact that Houston is a more talented team, though. The Milwaukee Bucks were up and dictating this game with great defensive pressure the entire game. So Houston made the plays down crunch time, and we just didn't execute, whether we were fatigued, whether we had the wrong lineup in, whatever the case may be. But I can't say that they're the much talented team. And I thought you saw guys, a guy like some of our bench guys were able to get in. I would have liked to see a little bit of Jericho Sims to kind of help with that rebounding, especially when you have a guy that's not really truthfully an offensive threat like Adams on the floor. Thought that'd be a good spot where you could put Sims in the game to kind of offset some of that rebounding.
Yeah, for sure. And Sims has had some looks this season, and I felt with his minutes, it's not an impact offensively. He's not a go-to guy, but the effort is there, the energy is there, and he brings what you need for the rebounding issues. And then also, if we were to stay there on that topic, like, are we getting to territory where we're talking about Kyle Kuzma getting back inserted into that starting lineup, Justin? Because we can talk so much about Kyle Kuzma and what he's done this year, but I mean, I think the effort, the energy that Kyle Kuzma is bringing night in, night out, I think it's worth a look. See if that solves some defensive lapses. See if that solves some mismatches. See if that solves the rebounding issues. You got no choice. You got no choice if guys aren't hitting shots, because now you're giving up. We're giving them missed shots on one end, and then we're also giving up a ton of size on the defensive end, and it hurts us. It hurts us for sure. What do you think about maybe inserting Kyle Kuzma back into the starting lineup, Justin?
For me, and it's like the same thing when we talked about this last year with Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. at the time. For me, it's always about that closing lineup. That's the most important. But I do see a case for Kuz to get in that starting lineup because he's an elite defender. He guarded Kevin Durant very well tonight. He's guarded Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, you just look at the list of guys that he's guarded, and he guards them well. And that defensive energy might be a presence in I don't know, man. I feel like AJ Green and Giannis probably have the worst whistle in the NBA. AJ Green, he bumps a guy, it's always a foul. And some of those other guys get away with that type of stuff. So, and I think that's part of the reason why you saw him have such a bad game. But we can't have that defensive liability against a bigger basketball team like tonight. So I think it should be more matchup specific to answer the question now.
Yeah, Liger Capo says Kyle Kuzma has 1 rebound. Well, that's not the issue. The issue is having a guy that is now stepping in at the 3 spot. That's about, how tall is Kyle Kuzma?
6'11", 6'10".
6'10". So at least another guy that can get a body on somebody, clear out the paint for Giannis and Miles Turner, allow them to do what they need to do. And so I definitely think that. I think there's some benefits to Kuzma being in the starting lineup, but also then the bench gets dicey. I mean, Taurean Prince didn't play, but like down the bench, like you're not going to have many scoring options anymore. If Bobby Portis isn't playing well, if Amir Coffey's out there for 14 minutes and he gives you 0, if Cole Anthony's turning the ball over like he did, so it may make the deadline very interesting this year, as most of the people in the chat are already trading people to the Bucks again, but we'll see how that goes with the Bucks. NYC Randy, another super chat. Appreciate that. Last thing, GA played bad at the end, but my God, he is the only player in the league that is asked to play, make, create, score, guard the best scorer, rebound, rim protect. He will gas out a lot, and I agree with that. I'm not gonna. That's why I'm not giving Giannis too much flack, because the guy is unbelievable. He's a beast. He's a freak of nature, right? And if we don't have Giannis right out there, who knows where this game goes? They may come back earlier, and they may make this a real decisive win. So that's why I'm not going to give too much flack on Giannis for the missed free throws, because I felt like he played well, and certainly well enough to win this game. Like, I don't want to let that go to waste. We had a big lead at one point in this basketball game, and you just let it slip. You let it slip away. So let's read a couple more chats here, and we'll continue moving on. Go ahead.
Real quick, for me, with the free throw thing is not, the biggest thing for me. It's the bad turnover at the end of the basketball game and not moving his feet on the defensive end. I'll give you a pass on free throws because we know that you shoot 65%, and that we're not going to ask you to be Reggie Miller from the free throw line, right? But I mean, it was a great basketball game. If it was a college basketball game with 40 minutes, we win that basketball game. That last 7 to 8 minutes, and I thought Doc alluded to it, when that charge did not go their way in that three-point play, it seemed like the momentum completely changed. But this basketball team played good today. It wasn't a horrible game, but we have to – I mean, we're with you with every bounce of the basketball. So we're going to critique everything, whether it be Giannis, whether it be Bobby playing bad when he plays bad, Cole Anthony with a horrible turnover at the end of the third quarter. That could switch the momentum, whether it's AJ Green being a defensive liability on nights. But you know the thing about this team, they're going to bounce back against Dallas tomorrow. And I'm almost ready to book it, King. I'm almost ready to book it. We go in there and we beat Cooper Flag and them boys.
Yeah, that'd be nice, and they're finally coming along a little bit. I thought they had a pretty slow start to the season, but it'll be a good matchup for us. And, again, another matchup that tests our rebounding. Look, they got AD. Is he playing? AD, Cooper, he's not playing?
He's out.
Still out? All right, so, but, you know, at the same time, it still may test the rebounding a little bit with some of the, you know, bringing in Cooper Flag and see if we can maybe throw somebody else in the starting lineup to help that rebounding, but we should be good on the boards battle there. It's got to be better than tonight. Got to be better than tonight. All right, Kick Jaw McGraw says, I hate to see Giannis go out like this. I would be calling for Ja Morant right now. My boy Giannis needs some damn. I can't go there. I can't go there with Ja Morant. He's not a good fit here. Did he shoot the ball well? No. Ryan Rollins is doing well. KPJ, D'Angelo Moss says, miss KPJ in those moments. And certainly you miss KPJ in these moments because you need somebody that can create down the stretch. You need somebody who can guard. You need somebody that can hustle for maybe extra scrappy rebounds, that can force turnovers, get the ball out in transition, make smart decisions. I can't go there to where we need help immediately right now. I'm just not doing that with this Bucks team yet. But I will say, and I'm not being complacent, like this is a game you got to win, and we have to string together wins, right? Like for not only for seeding, but just to show that this basketball team can prove to us that you could win a basketball series, right? Like, you know, you saw NYC Randy's comment where it's we can't win a 7-game series, and I wouldn't be sold that we could win a 7-game series right now if we keep these inconsistencies up, these late game chokes. And so we got to fix that for sure. Hoop Dream says you can sell a game, but at some point you got to string together a couple of wins. So yeah, I agree with that. Just talking about that. The last
Let's
Quincy. What'd you say?
Let's start Monday. Yeah. Monday seems like the perfect time to string something together. I'm not ready to go there on the series thing as far as we can't win a series yet. I feel like there's a lot of maturation that's going to happen during this season. I think Ryan Rollins is going to get better. I think Gary Trent Jr. is going to get better. I think Miles Turner, we saw a little bit of it in the first half, but he's going to start playing complete basketball games as well. As far as trading for Ja Morant, and I guess I have to chat because it's in you, but what would Ja Morant have done differently in this game that would have helped? Because I got Siri picking me up from the other phone. My apologies. But I just don't see what Ja would have done differently to push us over the top in this game.
Yeah, definitely not. Like Ja is not only just off the court has his own issues, but just on the court, I'm not seeing the fit there. I just don't see the fit. You just had Damian Lillard come in who can actually score the basketball, who's a primary dominant guard, and he didn't even fit with Giannis. So how is a guy who's the same but can't really shoot as well as Damian Lillard, how's he going to fit with Giannis? This is not going to happen. We have the guards, that we need, I think, to really be a good team in this league. And ultimately, we're waiting on health for KPJ. We're waiting on KPJ. And I hate to make it about KPJ so much, but at the end of the day, he will come back and he will make some noise with this basketball squad. Kick Jaw McGraw says Giannis needs another star. Who's supposed to close out games for the Bucks? KPJ Rollins. He said get serious and stop with the jokes. I'm not joking. I mean, we saw that Giannis sometimes, look, he can be a closer. We saw it versus the Pacers. I'm not going to say he's your clear 1A closer, but I'm also not opposed to figuring out what we can do at the deadline. I don't think you need point guards. I think you're going to get KPJ back. Ryan Rollins is showing you some real growth in this basketball, in this league. And, I think where the help comes is, okay, maybe you look for a real solidified true three. if there's some small forward out there that can create their own shot, that can close, that'd be great. But everybody else, like the John Morants, I don't even know about. I don't even know about Lauri Markkanen. Like, everybody's throwing that name out there, but he hasn't played meaningful basketball in a while. So I can't go there just yet. But let's
think about. Sorry, let me cut you off, Chris. Think about the haul that it would take to get Lauri Markkanen. Yeah. You're talking about
you got one first round in the next 5 years. Like, we got to spend that wisely. We can't just be trying stuff, just going out and getting Ja Morant just because of the name. Like, that's not what we need at this point.
And let's not discredit Ryan Rollins either. I know we're talking about be serious. He closed out games against the New York Knicks and the Golden State Warriors and did a pretty good job of it. And he was solid down the stretch tonight. So, and I don't think that necessarily. And this is my last comment on John Morant, because he's spending too much time on a dude that we're never going to get any. Well, I shouldn't say that, because John Horst has pulled off miracles. If Giannis is trying to drive to the bucket and Josh trying to drive to the bucket, you need a combo guard like a Ryan Rollins. This is what I'm talking about, the maturation of the season. Rollins is going to get better. He's shown you he can shoot the ball well, and he can penetrate, and he makes the smart passes and stuff like that. We ran out of gas a little bit. What does he say? Game 8, 9? What is it?
10, yeah.
10, game 10. So, look, I get why we're frustrated. Some of us in the chat, I don't think that Ja is the answer.
Nope.
I'm with you too, Chris. Lauri Markkanen, I don't know. If we get somebody, whoever we trade. I was against trading Middleton. I'll be against trading Kuz now. I'll be against trading Portis. If you trade someone that does not fill in and bring more to the team with the guys that we already have, then we're in a bad situation. We can't afford swing and misses in Milwaukee right now, because Giannis has told us we're on the clock if we don't make the right move. Make the wrong move with a John Morant, and it burns up the way that Damian Lillard did, which I'd make that trade 100 times. That could mean the end of Giannis in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and then you also think back to what Trey has told you guys for a couple episodes now. Like, the Bucks like Kuzma. So if you're thinking about, getting rid of him just because of the money, like, it may not happen because he's playing good ball, and I think he's really coming into his own player here in Milwaukee. And we saw some of the bright spots tonight. Kyle Kuzma with 11 points, but played good defense, played hard, shot the ball with confidence, and that's what we're going to need from Kuzma for the rest of the season and some years on. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to be too doom and gloom about this loss, but it is a missed opportunity. Like, let's get that straight. It's a missed opportunity to win a basketball game. It was winnable. And so that's where I'd probably step in and say something about the way that this game was lost. Doc Rivers, I didn't think he coached his best game down the stretch. I felt, left in probably those guys that weren't hitting shots in a little too long. AJ Green, it started to bleed through. It started to bleed through on the offensive end with dumb mistakes, dumb decisions, and that happened with most of our players down the stretch. And the defense was lackluster at the end. Let Şengün do whatever he wanted near the rim. We were fouling a lot. So there are a ton of issues with the way that this basketball game ended. Again, a little shorthanded with, obviously no TP. Some of the guys didn't get in, but I don't know if Doc really put these guys in the best position to win. I think it was more so riding with your guys towards the end of the fourth, and that's just not going to win you games. What did you think about just the performance from the Bucks in that fourth quarter that made this all go awry, Justin?
Yeah, I would agree with it. If I'm going to play devil's advocate, I'm sure Doc was thinking that these guys like your AJ Green, your Gary Trent Jr., they've missed so many shots that they're going to have to start going in at some point, and they did it. But I think he could – I agree with you. I don't think this was his best coaching performance. But we got to keep in mind one thing. Those 6'3" guards that were guarding those guys, those taller guys, in the first three quarters, they were stripping the ball from Durant, making it very difficult on Thompson. So those guys played a good defensive 2.5, three quarters maybe. Mm-hmm. And then we got to about 4 to 5 minutes left in that third quarter. And I think that's when everything changed. But, hey, look, the same thing that I said about Ryan Rollins maturing and stuff like this, I think that you're going to see a maturation from this coaching staff as well. Gotcha. And they're going to get better. These guys are going to show who they are, and we're going to know where to place them right now. So just relax. It's 10 games in. Yeah, I was about to say something else, but we're 10 games in. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's just, this is what game 10 with this new kind of look squad with, Giannis, and and basically, you know, surrounded by some talent, some guys that are just now learning how to deal with, you know, heavy workload on minutes. When you're talking about Ryan Rollins, AJ Green as well. Like, this is really, I mean, last year he got like a taste of it, but this has really kind of been, in my opinion, like a real growth year for AJ Green, having to get those minutes. And there's a good question in here. I think it's Midwest Ballers TV says 3 points from AJ Green ain't going to cut it if he's not hitting the three ball. What else is he contributing? So, you know, that's something that I agree with. I see that, and I think we all see it. Like, you know, the foul trouble, not being able to stay in front of guys, getting whistled for fouls, and you talked about his whistle, but I mean, in the first place, sometimes it's just bad defense, right? Not being able to slide the feet as quickly as some of these guards are moving. And so if he's not making threes, it's, you know, 4 assists tonight, 2 steals, you know, found some bright spots, found some things to do right, but they're not eye-popping. What you see from AJ Green is he's going to be out there shooting threes, and if they're not going in, that's kind of, you're left with basically nothing, right? And so I think, you know, we've had these stretches with AJ Green having bad months and bad games, and you're hoping that consistency will show up, especially the fact that they just extended him, and maybe part of the reason why he's being played so much, because, you know, that may be an issue for Doc to address. Like, dude, I don't care if he just got $42 million contract. If he's not making shots, figure something else out until the kid gets the ball in the basket. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to grow up a little bit and be able to self-reflect and say, AJ Green's not really contributing as much as we would like him to. Let's see if somebody else can take his minutes and play well with those. But, you know, Kuz had 30, Bobby had 24. So just, you know, missing guys. That probably doesn't make, you know, this game go so many minutes for Kuzma or so many minutes for Bobby, 24 minutes. Like, you know, if you've got those guys that you can plug and play, right? TP, if you've got KPJ, then I think you're in a better spot there. But certainly something's going on with AJ Green. He's got to figure it out to be able to stay competing at this level with 26 minutes tonight. Stay competing on defense, stay competing offensively. Like, something's got to change with him. What would you say about that, Justin?
Yeah, and I think one of the things to keep in mind is AJ Green he had 2 fouls in like the first 2 or 3 minutes of the ball game and had to go to the bench and didn't come back into the second quarter.
Right.
I do agree with you. I think one thing that has helped Bobby a little bit is a little bit lessening of the minutes. I thought that allows him to play better. But our entire starting 5 was bad tonight. You got Giannis ±0. Rollins was a -15. Turner was a -17. Gary Trent Jr. -21, and AJ a -6. So that kind of goes back to the coaching that we're talking about, maybe with Doc. But then we got to remember, you can't do so much when a guy is in foul trouble. So you're right. Yeah. AJ does sometimes put himself in those bad positions where you get those bumps. So he has to lock in and defend better or be relegated to the bench, depending on the matchup. But AJ Green's going to be fine, man. We had these conversations about him last year. We had conversations about it, about a lot of guys. And this is what we're using the regular season for, to get better once the postseason comes and win that series for NYC Randy.
Yep, Bucks lose it tonight, 122-115 at home versus the Houston Rockets. Rockets improved to, I think, 6-3 now on the season. We're 6-4, so just got to be able to string together some wins, man. First off, I got a gripe with the way the NBA are scheduling all these rematches right away. Like, I don't really want to watch Charlotte twice this week. I just really don't. But obviously, we're gonna have that post-game coverage for you guys all week, so should be fun. Looking forward to it. Definitely keep it locked here on the Cream City crossover. Be live Monday night as well. All week. We haven't missed a show yet, so it's good. Happy to be here for the 3rd year, giving you guys the best post-game show on Milwaukee Bucks social media. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, just a bad loss tonight, 122-115. Gave it up at the end, and I see a comment in here that says, looks like Charles pulls and says, absolute choke job tonight. This one is on Giannis. I don't want to see another 3-point attempt from him all year unless the free throw percentage improves. Io says, yes, the defensive intensity died down. They stopped getting deflections and started getting lost in the switching. And I saw that too, right? Like, there was a lot of open lanes for the Rockets. I think the Rockets did really good job in transition. Liger Capo says AJ is at 47% from three. He's fine. Benching him off of 2 bad games is crazy. It's not necessarily benching him because of the 3-point percentage. It's the fact that he's not being able to stay in front of people on defense. Like, this has been a storyline for the whole season. The fact that he's not putting himself in a position to stay in front of guys, and he's fouling all the time. That's why he's getting in foul trouble. He's getting whistled all the time, and they're not letting it go. So, I get bumped and playing good aggressive defense, but it gets to a point where you're like, okay, this guy he's out there fouling because he can't stay in front of people. And teams are figuring out those mismatches. Teams are hunting those matches. And Kickjaw McGraw says AJ Green is not a starter. He's good, just not a starter. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, then they should do it. Like, if you recognize that he can't play defense at a high level and play in closing minutes, and you're not going to have incredible defensive lineup around him, like, he's pretty much just out there, right? Like, just out there if he's not making shots. If he's making shots, it's a different story, and I think he'll start to hit those. But yeah, man. What'd you say?
I was going to say we should have a good chance for him to start tomorrow because it looks like Derek Lively II, Anthony Davis, and Daniel Gafford may all potentially – well, Lively and Davis are definitely out. Gafford's out, so that's going to leave either P.J. Washington – they're going to play small. P.J. Washington, Max Christie, Lord have mercy, Christie, and Klay Thompson coming off that bench. So what I'm going to look for tomorrow is for AJ to be better defensively because I think that the matchup is a little bit more favorable. And this Houston Rockets matchup is not favorable to 97% of teams in the NBA. They have a very big starting five. And then they have, like you mentioned earlier, Chris, you got Steven Adams coming off that bench, who's one of the biggest centers in NBA history. Yeah. So, and they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams. So I don't know if he should be relegated to the bench. Let's just hope he plays better tomorrow.
Yep. And the team as a whole has to play better tomorrow. I mean, you mentioned all the guys that they have out, and the Twin Towers in the front court for us, 14 rebounds tonight. What are you going to do tomorrow to fix that? What are you going to do tomorrow? Is Giannis going to be able to get 14 himself? Is he going to be able to get 17? Is he going to have a 20 rebound game? Is Miles Turner going to be able to chip in double digits rebounding with that too? That's what I'm going to be looking for there. And yeah, when you talk about the rebounding too, like Bobby and Kuz had a bad night rebounding. Like, let's just be honest. 2 rebounds combined from them in 54 minutes. That's not good, right? That's pretty bad. And I would give credit to Houston in the way that they were able to steal those rebounds from the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. So Bucks lose at 122-115. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It's been good. It's been fun. I know you guys are trying to probably watch football, but we can get into game balls and then slowly start to wrap this one up.
These last couple football games are terrible. You have 41-20. Rams are up at 41-16. The Lions are up on the Washington Commanders. We'll go game ball off the rip.
Blowout city.
I think we'll do 2, Chris, for our brothers that are out tonight. So I'll give my first one, easy money sniper, KD. I mean, he's one of my favorite players in the league besides Anthony Edwards that is not a Milwaukee Buck. It's just effortless what he does. He gets to his spot. And he had tough defense at him tonight. I thought everybody on the floor, I know Doc said we played him kind of average, but I thought everybody made him work. And the thing about Kuzma, Trey mentioned on the last show, you want to see a lot of PJ Tucker stuff. You want to make his life hard. KD, what did he finish with? Almost 30?
31.
2018.
He had 31 tonight.
31. He worked for all 31 of those points until we got to the last couple minutes where he had that great pump fake on Giannis and who was the other guy? Miles Turner. If I give my Milwaukee Bucks game ball, Trey has to be in it to win it. So that would be, we give the KD one for Trey. I'd go Kuzma again. I thought Kuzma played a phenomenal game tonight. He does everything that we needed him to do tonight with the exception of rebounding. But that's a tough team, like you mentioned, Chris, to rebound against. But guarding the best player on the floor, 3-point shot was going in tonight. Mid-range shot was decent, and he was creating, passing, finding guys off the ball. So a good game for Kyle Kuzma. I really hate we didn't come out on the win, though.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it to Şengün. I don't think he played the best defense. Obviously, 5 fouls for him, nearly fouled out. But, the thing is, what he was able to do down the stretch, winning a jump ball. Let's talk about that jump ball. When we won the challenge, he wins the jump ball versus Miles Turner, and they immediately go down and get a 3-point play. Like, that's a game-changing play that goes under the radar. And then obviously, a couple of those buckets late with the and one, and then with the floater, kind of put us away. So I'll go Alperen Şengün. I thought he played really well, near triple-double, 23, 11, and 7 for Şengün. And he made a lot of plays down the stretch that willed them to this basketball game. But unacceptable that Miles Turner did not win that jump ball, because that ultimately gave them a new set of life when you really had the opportunity to extend the lead from, it was I think 4 at that point. Could have extended the lead. Instead, it's a 1-point game. Going back the other way, they go score again, and now you have the lead for Houston. Charles Poulsen says the Şengün flailing and crying is so damn nasty every single game. Yeah, that's it. He does do a lot of grifting, and it did work a little bit for him tonight. Obviously, he got to the line a little bit, got to the line down the stretch, but we got to be better at just being able to stay in front of somebody like that, and not be distracted, not thinking he's going to pass out of the post when you give him a wide open floater. Like, some of those things are inexcusable from Giannis, from Miles Turner, and we got to be better, certainly. So there's my game ball. Again, Bucks lose it 122-115. You got anything else, Justin, for the look around? There's some things to talk about now with the Marquette Golden Eagles. I'm wondering, hoping maybe on November 19th in the Fiserv, the Dayton Flyers could get a win versus Marquette. They got whooped tonight. I think it was 100-77 versus Indiana. Indiana's a good team. They're not ranked, but they should be, right? They're not ranked.
Nope, I don't think so.
They're a good team. Obviously, DeVry's first year as the Indiana head coach, coming over from West Virginia, brought his son over there, got a couple of big transfers in. Lamar Wilkerson comes to mind. But just what is going on with Marquette? How'd they lose that game? New team without Cam Jones, without Jop, right? What happened to Marquette tonight?
I think you saw a battle of a team who believes in the NIL and the transfer portal versus a team that didn't. I'm not going to get too out of shape on it right now, though, because it's early in the season with Shaka and the guys, and hopefully they'll kind of come together. And when you need a more experienced, older team is crazy at 22, 21, right? But an older, more experienced team to play better. Shaka may have to come off of this. I don't want any transfer portal guys, though. But it was a belt-to-ass session from the Indiana Hoosiers. And I'm sure Trey Pops will agree, where the best fraternity in America was founded at. So, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. And then yesterday I went and saw my fighting Bart Lundys kind of get a little bit of belt-to-ass to them from Wofford College. Wofford, they just started out in a big hole, and a lot like the end of the Bucks game. A lot of turnovers, a lot of bad fouls and stuff like that. So, not a good basketball weekend for me.
Yeah, definitely not. Again, like you said, it's early for both squads. It's early for Marquette. It's early for the Bucks, and hopefully Shaka is able to kind of address those issues. I mean, when you're recruiting, 17, 18-year-old kids to come play big minutes and go play, not to mention play Indiana in your second or third game, right? Or third game, that's a little bit of a different beast, and so you got to have those guys prepared for that if that's the route that you want to take as a college basketball coach. So Indiana, I think, again, it's not too much to harp on Marquette for. I think Indiana's going to be really good. I think they're going to break the curse of being kind of a overlooked, pretty bad team in the Big Ten, not really that good. I think DeVries is going to come in there, and they're going to be a good team this year. I could imagine them finishing maybe top 15 on the country, especially with how good the Big Ten is. So I wouldn't be too disappointed in that, and especially it being early. What else we got? So we got the Eagles and Packers tomorrow at 8. What do we think in there? The Packers got to bounce back for sure.
A little worried with no Tucker Kraft. Eagles are a good football team. It's gonna be a slobber knocker. And shout out to the NBA scheduling for scheduling the Milwaukee Bucks right there in the middle of a Packers game. That's great. But I mean, they don't care about the state of Wisconsin. Yeah. They want to make Giannis. They want to put Giannis on the Knicks anyways or somewhere else. We'll see, man. I don't even have a prediction or anything, man. I just feel like we proved last week we can lose to anyone, and we proved a few weeks ago we could beat anyone. So It's the most bipolar team in all of the history of the NFL, I feel like. But the entire NFL is kind of fickle too, right? Seeing the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, spin move champion, running for his life and scrambling in football games. You see the Saints go beat the Panthers after a great win.
Yeah,
It's
sorry,
wide open
Guru.
in the NFC.
Yeah, man, it is. Sorry, Guru. That's probably a miserable game to. He went out there for the Tyler Shutt game, but that's partially on the Panthers for even enabling that. That's disgusting work, losing to the Saints, and only putting up 7 points. That's bad. But we're thinking of you, Trey, and can't wait to have you back on Monday. So I think that's it for me. When it comes, I mean, we could take a look at college football a little bit.
We looked at Trey's team. We forgot about JT's boys had that comeback win. Jonathan Taylor ran absolutely crazy on those Falcons. Man. Falcons had a good opportunity to win that football game and just did not do it either, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. Forgot about JT, though.
No, you're good because, look, I mean, I don't know how that guy, Jonathan Taylor, cannot be in the MVP conversations. They're saying Drake May is the odds-on favorite, and you're looking at it like, okay, this dude just had 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing, and the one to win the game in OT, like that's a guy who's really, really come on strong, I think, for this new look Colts team. So got to give credit to him for that for sure. And then the last thing I'll say, man, is college football is heating up. We're starting to see the college football playoff rankings come out, and I think game day is going to be at Pitt and Notre Dame. That should be a good one this weekend. So there wasn't really too many surprises, I would say, on Saturday. I think Oregon barely pulling it out. Pause versus Iowa on the road. That would have been interesting. Bucky, how about Bucky? With the big win over Washington. There we go, Luke Fickell. Maybe they're, all of us saying fire Luke Fickell might be jumping the gun a little bit. I don't know. That's a good Washington team that they beat. They've had a bad season, but you got to give credit to the Wisconsin Badgers for pulling that one out over the Washington Huskies. And then, outside of that, Ohio State did its thing. What a catch by Omar Cooper Jr. For the Indiana Hoosiers. Save the dream season for Indiana. Save the undefeated record on that 3rd and goal where Fernando Mendoza, kind of heaves it up there, and he insane body control to get a foot down. Indiana ends up winning that game over Penn State.
Yeah,
Penn State's got good players.
So
man.
I guess majority of the. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. Good.
Is it? I can't hear you anymore, bro.
I think I might have lost you. But I lost you for a second. Hold on, I'll get you back. But yeah, no. To me, I mean, I think the Heisman race is going to be close. Is it Julian Sayin or is it going to be Fernando Mendoza? That's going to be the interesting thing. But Justin, do I still got you? You got me?
The sound is out for me.
All right, well,
but if you can hear me,
we'll go ahead and just
I agree with you that Penn State game against Indiana was absolutely crazy.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Get your thoughts in. They can hear you. I can't hear you. All right, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. We're going to wrap this one up, guys. 122-115. The Rockets beat the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Really good job, Justin. Thank you for being here. I know I can't hear you, but I appreciate you being here, and appreciate everybody in the chat for tuning in. Me filling in for Trey is always a tough job to do because he comes in with so much energy, and it's just me. I'm pretty mellow, but was able to get us through this episode 10. Keep it locked here on the Cream City Crossover. We appreciate all the support. Everybody super chat and comment and like and subscribe and like the video if you're here. Like the video if you love it. Again, this is the Cream City Crossover. I'm Chris King. 122-115 loss. We'll be right back at it tomorrow night, and Trey Crosby will be here blowing everybody's heads off with his energy. So can't wait for that. Can't wait for JT to be back in the building, and certainly appreciate you guys for tuning in, keeping it with me, keeping up with the show, tuning in after every Bucks game. This is the best post-game show on Milwaukee Bucks social media. So always And always stay tuned to the Cream City crossover. We got a lot coming for you for the rest of the season. Be on the lookout for videos. Be on the lookout for short clips. Like, repost, share those, whatever you're doing to help support. It all helps us grow and helps us give the best coverage to you guys. So appreciate it. Once again, I'm Chris King for the Cream City crossover, and